Hello there, good people. Welcome to Talkay Media. This is where we talk it all from politics, socials, culture, and everything else in between. And this week, we're continuing our Adventure on a Budget Vodcast series we started last week. Just a note, if you haven't already seen it, episode 1, go on our Facebook page or check out our Instagram page, Talk It, the number 8, now. So it's Talking Now on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook where you can find the video is Talking Media. We had a discussion with Danai Bustamante from Cuba last week, who shared pre-traveling tips with us, and it was super great. So I would advise you to check that out. So this week we have with us the very vibrant and wonderful Zuleka, from Liberia, who's traveled all over the world, but her proudest experiences comes from discovering her homeland, Liberia. In this episode, she'll share with us her budget tips for traveling around Liberia and how to get around, because it's such an interesting country and things are not usually done the way you will find it in other countries. So we're excited about getting into this conversation with her. But firstly, let's welcome Silica to our Vodcast conversation. Hello, girl. How are you? Welcome to Talking Media. Could you introduce yourself a little bit and tell our audience who you are and a little bit about you?
Hello, I'm Zuleka, like you said, and I live in Liberia. Live and work here. I moved here since 2014. I enjoy traveling, and I hope I can use this opportunity to share parts of Liberia with people, because I think Liberia is, definitely a emerging travel place to travel, and I think everybody should come and experience it.
For those of you who don't already follow Zuleka on social media, especially Instagram, I advise you to go check it out, because recently she took a vacation to Europe with her girlfriends. We know that because we both follow your story. But hey, they looked lit. Very African with their African prints and really nice, vibrant colors and what have you. And I advise you, if you intend to take a trip with your girlfriends, definitely check out her Instagram for some inspiration. All right, let's get into this conversation. Well, it's not going to be a conversation. First of all, I am your host, Cyrene Williams. But in this podcast series, I will be a little bit silent and let Zuleka go lead the conversation, because that's the whole aspect of getting much knowledge from our guest in this series. So let's get into this and get some awesome tips about budget traveling around Liberia, about discovering Liberia. Are you ready, Zuleka?
Thanks, Siren. I'm definitely ready, and I hope the audience is ready as well. I can't wait to share everything, and I'm glad you guys saw the videos and the pictures from Europe. Our whole thing was actually to paint Europe African, so that they can know that we're there, we're alive, and we are people, and we have great culture and colorful and vibrant places to show people. So we walked around Paris and Portugal looking very colorful, and when people ask questions, we educated them. I think that's the beauty of travel. I'm gonna have to say, they think you have to be rich or have a lot of money, and I definitely think that's not true, considering that most of the nicest places I've been, or the best places in my opinion in Liberia, are places that were free, and I met some of the coolest people that way. I'm gonna say road conditions. Obviously the roads are not very mobile friendly. Internet problems, or just communication period. There's a lot of places along the route that you just won't have any signal. And I'm gonna have to say the last one is personal. Just for me personally, sticking to my budget. If you plan to spend a certain amount of money on a trip, you might run out of that, because there's always something along the way to buy, another attraction to see, people to help. So that's always a challenge for me. Road conditions, again, you have to make sure it's places that you can, it's easily accessible by a vehicle or motorbike or however you plan to get there. weather, make sure it's rainy season, dry season, or if it's somewhere that you want it to be rainy season, I guess. Finding a local or a neighborly guide, someone who actually knows about the place, not just someone's getting paid to do that. So someone who can actually tell you some stories about the place. That's something I'll definitely recommend. I'll definitely say dry season, obviously, December specifically, because there's a lot of things happening. A lot of people return to Liberia. A lot of different activities planned in and around the city of Monrovia. Must do inexpensive things. I'll say ride keke or the tuk-tuk. The three tires, mobile things, mostly yellow. They run throughout the city. That's the best way to see Monrovia. I think, you get a perfect view. You're right there in traffic with people. You get to see vendors, talk to people, and, have conversation. And it's cheap. Last time I checked was about $60 Liberian dollars for an hour. So you get to see the city, go around, and, it's a win-win. Another thing to definitely do, is go to the top of Duko. That's inexpensive. See the sunset from there. It's very beautiful, and you get to see the entire city of Monrovia from the top there. The view is just something you have to see. And I think lastly, you have to leave Monrovia. Just leave Monrovia, and then you'll see a lot of different places. I can't narrow this to 3. Robert Sports, Ganta, anywhere, Buchanan. I just like places outside of Monrovia, so definitely just leave the city. I'll say just leave 40, even if it's 45 minutes away from the city, you have to leave. Offer beaches, resorts, savannah land, beautiful scenery, rivers, fishing, communities, mountains, waterfalls, forests, untouched grassland, just a lot of things. I'd say, what are we lacking? I'll definitely say access to attraction. The road conditions, again, is huge for me. A lot of places and things, you have to get a certain car to get there. You have to go there only when it's dry. So I think if the road conditions are fixed, definitely just easy access to these things. And I just think we're lacking proper exposure to other travel markets outside of Liberia. But I think definitely that narrative is changing with the recent Liberia Tourism Association and a lot of other new platforms that exposes Liberia to the rest of the world. Airbnb, I'll say, in short, is one of those places that local residents usually offer their homes out to people for short stay. Like the name indicate, Airbnb, air, breakfast, and bed. I think we started one in Banga for the charity that I run for my church. I have a school, and I think a lot of people that come around the area, mostly they are there for different reasons. And some people might be going for the waterfall in Banga, Patawi waterfall. So we figure we build a place that will be an income generating source for the charity, but also giving people who are stopping along the way a place to stay for a short time that will feel like home away from home. I think definitely there's a market in Liberia for that, because Liberians are some of the most nicest, people that open up their homes to people already for free. So I think that's something that could be income generating for local communities and people along the routes, especially traveling outside of Monrovia. There's a lot of attractions that are not closer to hotels, and I think if people open up their homes, that's something that will encourage people to travel along those routes. Most of the highways are convenient, I would say, especially considering that we are a developing nation. A lot of places that cars can't go, you get down, you continue your way with a motorbike. That's part of the adventure, if you ask me. Some of the major highways are being constructed, under construction right now. So, once you plan far in advance, that's something that you can, that would not be, would not hinder your journey. My favorite route, I'll have to say Buchanan Highway, for the simple fact that for all the curves, but mostly you get to see a lot of the lush green beauty of Liberia, the forest land, and there's this one spot It's called Cotton Tree. It's just where two huge, like really big cotton trees just along the side of the road that form an arch, and I think it makes for a very beautiful scenery along the way. Yes, it is. Along the beaches in Robert Sports, there's some guys that I know there that rent out campsites and tents to people in that area that enjoy the nightlife or the outdoors. I had a friend that camped out for a couple of days in Buchanan as well, so I know they do accept tourists in their tent. There's obviously other places where it's welcome, but it's not advisable due to the security risk. Obviously, like any developing nation or just anywhere in the world, if you set up a tent, you want to make sure it's in a secure area for your own personal reasons, and then just for your belongings and other things. So yeah, just be smart. But yes, there's a lot of outside space and land, and nothing beats sleeping under the stars, but you want to be safe. For the perfect weekend, I'll say Cape Palmas. For surfing, swimming, beach picnics, all of that is the perfect spot. It's literally right on the coast of Liberia, and if you do go there, it's really far, but there's a flight that goes to Maryland County, Harper City, and it's worth it. There's a lot of coconut trees that line even the entire from Greenville and Sino to River G, along that way all the way to Maryland County. There's just a lot of coconut trees, palm trees along the coast. It's just a beautiful place to be. That's somewhere I definitely recommend. Cape Palmas. I would say Buchanan, just for Elizabeth Village. I think because it gives you a perfect match between a nice resort and then a little taste of village life. So I think it's a perfect blend of the Liberian, something different, like something you won't just see every day. So it's like you're living in a village, but you're on a resort. So that's something. Also, they have a canoe ride that you can go in the Benson River, and the view is just, especially if you catch it when the sun is going down. Lastly, must do, I'll definitely say go up Mount Nimba. There's nothing like it. If you're into hiking, you get to the top, you get an area view of Liberia, Ivory Coast, and Guinea. You can't beat that. I also make friends with locals or with community members along the way. You want to enjoy the attraction and the places and the interests, but you also want to take people with you that can tell you stories about places. Maybe it's just me, but I like to hear more than just, oh, there's a tree. I'm much more here. There's a tree. My grandmother was, buried something here, or my cousin and myself used to play here. So I like to hear stories about places and the people that live there. I'll also say another lesson is you don't want to travel very heavy, because you never know when you have to ditch your vehicle and then settle for a motorbike or pem-pem. And you never know when you have to ditch the pem-pem to walk, and most of the walk might be along dirt roads or swampy land or something that. So I say just bring proper walking shoes. Just pack light, but I would say pack smart. So that's a lesson I've definitely learned. Don't try to be too cute. You will get the pictures you need, but just focus on the journey, not the destination. Focus on how you get there, which is talk to the people, learn the landmarks, ask a lot of questions. That's stuff I usually do. I'll say adaptability. Things are not always going to go as planned. Obviously, a lot of things. If you know Liberia, you know a lot of things. Sometimes we have our own ways. We do things our own ways. So you have to be prepared, be able to adapt. Next, I'll say anybody who likes hiking, that's a skill that you definitely could use here. Getting ready to jump, walk, run, whatever way you have to get to places. And then once you get there, it's so worth it. Lastly, I'll say someone who knows a skill of managing your budget well. There's always going to be something to buy, people to help, things to do along the way. Like I said, it's not about where you're going, it's about the journey, but at the same time, you have to be smart financially to make sure every time you take a trip, you're not, exhausting all of your money that you set aside. traveling in Liberia is exactly as Liberia is abbreviated as LIB, which is life is beautiful. I think it's very beautiful. There's so much to discover. There's a lot to share with the world. There are things that happen along the way that will shock you and amuse you, but most importantly, it will educate you. You can't get this stuff in textbooks. You can't get this stuff on TV. You certainly won't get this stuff by being in Monrovia. I love when people say Monrovia is not Liberia, and that's the fact. If you really want to enjoy Liberia, see Liberia, you have to leave. You have to be willing to explore places, ask questions, meet locals, and just be there, be a part of what's happening right now, which is globalization, and everybody is seeing the world, and the world is seeing each other, and people are sharing cultures and sharing people and food and places. And I think it's a wonderful thing, and Liberia certainly needs to be a part of that. And for us to do that, we have to be willing to leave and explore new things and territories. And the misconception that you need a lot of money is certainly not true. Most days, sometimes some of the most beautiful views, like going to the Blue Lake, cost me less than $10, and all I had to do was get gas into a car and drive up there, and you get a view that you just can't put into words. Or you want to go to Nimba, you just plan early, you get gas into a car and you get there, and you climb up the mountains and you see things. Places like the Patawi waterfall, you get there. If you don't find people there, you can pay one or two of the locals. They will get you on a motorbike and they will take you there. So those are things you just have to be willing to get there, maneuver your way. Like a lot of things with traveling, you never know what you'll get, so you have to be willing to adapt. But yes, see Liberia, love Liberia, be here, enjoy it, and I look forward to sharing many more of my pictures, videos, and travel stories throughout Liberia with the world. Thank you.
Let me just say again that I nominate you for Tourism Ambassador for Liberia, because only an expert would go through those questions with such depth and simplicity to it, like you did. Thank you so much for sharing these details with us.
It's definitely a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. Anytime I'm available to talk about Liberia, so this is definitely a win for me. I hope that people who are listening will take the opportunity, those who've not been for a long time, to come back, those who've been trying to come but there's some obstacle, reach out. Definitely, like I said, I'm always here available to show people around, talk to people about Liberia, especially since there's so many negative things out there, to show the positive side. So until next time, Zuleka, and if you're not, follow me on Instagram, Zuleka. Okay, thank you.
I am excited to go home soon and check out all the things that you recommended, and I hope that this message gets across, because our objective of this series is to encourage more young people, especially young Africans, Liberians particularly, who are newly young professionals, making money for themselves now, to change the status quo and discover the world around them, and understanding that discovering the world doesn't necessitate it being expensive and breaking a wallet, that you can travel and discover around you without breaking the bank. So I hope this message gets across and it helps a lot of people. Encourage them to take a trip with their girlfriends or their boyfriends, their families, and see more of Liberia. And I definitely look forward to trying out a lot of things when I get home too. So thank you so much, and we look forward to following your journey, because you highlight a lot of the positives of Liberia and also the reality of it, which we love, because then it gives everyone a holistic idea of what Liberia is all about. And that's the beauty of it all, especially your wonderful sunset pictures you shared with us. Anyway, all right, good people, the conversation never stops. We only highlight and you take flight. So keep these conversations alive until we see the change that we seek. Thanks again to our dynamic guest, Zuleka, for being on Talkay Media Vodcast series Adventure on a Budget. And we wish you all the very best. Bless up, and we look forward to following your journey, like I said. Take care. Bye-bye.